People are leaving China in droves, especially China's wealthy. We'll have to wait and find out how many make it out before they erect a great Berlin Wall of China. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. People are fleeing communism in China. The United Nations estimates that 310,000 people are going to leave China this year. That's more than 2.5 times as many as left in 2012, a mere decade ago. Wait, maybe they're not fleeing communism. Maybe they're just planning to catch the next leg of Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. Already, Panama authorities are reporting a record increase in Chinese people crossing through Panama on their way to the U.S. They say Chinese are the 4th largest nationality they see coming through these days. While this trend is accelerating across the board, it's particularly true for Chinese people with money, i.e., China's 1%ers. According to Forbes, China and Hong Kong went from 607 billionaires last year to just 562 this year. That's 45 fewer billionaires this year. Of course, part of that could be billionaires just not being billionaires anymore. Oh, those poor, brave little soldiers. I hope they'll somehow be able to soldier on being only lowly 999 millionaires. But something like this is happening with millionaires too. High-end real estate company Knight Frank says that during the pandemic, the growth of Chinese people with a net worth of more than $1 million US slowed, while the number of Chinese people with a net worth of more than $30 million US shrunk. For people with over $30 million, Knight Frank says China lost 5.9%, well above the global average of 3.8%. The rich keep getting richer, except in China. If Xi were smart, he'd say this was intentional and go, communism, ta-da, keeping things equal, totally on purpose. Now, certainly some of this could be millionaires and billionaires losing their wealth. China's economy isn't exactly stellar right now, which is the understatement of the year. But that's not the full picture. A lot of Chinese millionaires are leaving China too. Investment migration consultancy Henley & Partners estimates that China is going to permanently lose over 13,000 millionaires this year. That means people who have at least $1 million in assets are leaving China and they're not coming back. Instead, they're moving to another country. I would hope the friends helping them move are getting more than just pizza and beer. The number of millionaires leaving is up from just under 11,000 last year. And that's saying something because last year China was still doing all its zero COVID lockdowns. Of course, it was also doing things like cutting people's passports so they couldn't leave the country. There's that great Berlin Wall of China I mentioned. So many people were trying to leave China that it was dubbed the Run Movement. We did an episode last year about it. Check it out. The link is in the description below. But back to this new wave of emigration. China's bleeding millionaires more than any other country in the world right now. And they're taking their wealth with them. China just had its worst capital outflow in years this fall. Goldman Sachs reported that foreign exchange outflows hit $75 billion in September, the highest one-month outflow since 2016. That's a lot of yuan becoming, well, not yuan. And that's 80% more than just the month before. And if you understand math, that equals real bad. Even by China's own data, which is, shall we say, regularly tampered with, there was still a record-breaking outflow in September. This is not a good look for a country that's trying to convince the world that it's a good investment. It'd be like a fire extinguisher company trying to sell its product after its factory burned to the ground. And China desperately needs to convince the world that it's a good investment. Foreign investment in China went negative this quarter, for the first time since China began recording data in 1998. And that's really bad news for China, because it needs investment now more than ever to help with its real estate crisis, local government debt crisis, weakening global demand, and a softening currency, just to name a few. No wonder companies are hesitant to invest. It'd be quicker and easier for them to just set their money on fire. They can light it with the flames from the fire extinguisher factory fire. But the root of the problem goes deep, and it's not easy to fix. I'll tell you more after the break. Welcome back. China's millionaires and billionaires are heading for greener pastures. This trend actually isn't new for China. It's been losing the most millionaires of any country for the past decade. But this year, it's speeding up, and it's probably the most damaging because of China's fragile economy. Now, I mentioned how China's poor economy and authoritarian pandemic restrictions were driving people away, faster than Dom Toretto. But one of the biggest factors right now is how the government is targeting Chinese power centers. Back in 2021, Xi Jinping started talking a lot about common prosperity, which is communist jargon for wealth redistribution. Unlike Deng Xiaoping, who used the term to mean that some would get wealthy first, Xi means it in a more traditional communist sense. Inequality needs to be tackled, and the government is the bagman to do it. Like I said before, communism, ta-da! As part of that campaign, the government twisted the arms of big tech companies like Alibaba and Tencent to get them to donate millions to charity. Because the best kind of charity is the one that's given under duress. I'm pretty sure that's the true meaning of Christmas. But forcing companies to redistribute their wealth is one thing. What I think is most concerning to China's wealthy is how Xi Jinping is going after Chinese elite directly. After routine purges of the Communist Party since he got into power, Xi is now going hard after the private sector. Probably the most famous of those cases is Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba. Jack Ma was once the wealthiest man in China, but that didn't help him when he mysteriously disappeared in 2020. That, not surprisingly, happened shortly after he criticized the government for overregulation. Making people disappear. Wow, another communist magic trick. Ta-da! Most recently, the founder of Evergrande, one of the country's largest property developers before it defaulted in 2021, was taken into custody. It's not clear what crimes he was taken in for or why now, since his company has been in trouble for almost 2 years at this point, but Hui Kaiyan used to be one of the wealthiest men in Asia before Evergrande went under. Because of that, many see this as a signal that Beijing won't let China's super wealthy off the hook anymore, even if they have connections. In fact, having connections in the Communist Party can also be a liability. That is, if you have the wrong connections. Apparently, the Communist Party is like jumping a car battery. Making bad connections can get you killed. Whitney Duan, one of China's wealthiest women, disappeared in 2017 after aligning herself with the wrong political faction. It later came to light that she had been imprisoned, although we still don't know if she was charged with any crime. But to be fair, who has time to charge someone before or even several years after throwing someone in prison? The CCP are busy folks. They'll get around to it. So China's wealthiest citizens are suddenly learning what it's like to be black-bagged. But that's not all. Other elites have been disappearing as well. In banking, streaming, sports, and the entertainment world. The message the government is trying to send is that there is only one tiger that can fit on a mountain, and the Chinese government is that tiger. Using a tiger, that metaphor is perfect, since communist magician Xi Jinping loves using tigers. Ta-da! No wonder China's wealthy are getting the heck out of Dodge. Now, as I'm sure you know, YouTube censorship is a big problem, but I think I found a way around that. But I'll need your help. I'll tell you about that in just a second, but first, I gotta show some love to the China Uncensored 50-cent army, the fans who join our exclusive social media platform on chinauncensored.locals.com for a small monthly contribution. Without their support, I couldn't afford to make China Uncensored, so I hope you'll consider joining. And as a thank you, I'll answer your questions on the show. Today's question comes from Nick Allen 1. I noticed that Gamers Unbeaten has over 37,000 subscribers. Could you comment on the rate of growth of the channel? Is it going as well as could be expected? Are there any indications of shadow banning? Are there any plans for a fourth channel? Maybe WEF Unmasked, or UN Unauthorized, or EU Unfriended? Nick, I'm glad you noticed Gamers Unbeaten. For those of you who haven't, Gamers Unbeaten is our new YouTube channel, where I try to hide all the things YouTube considers too controversial and would demonetize or ban in video game analysis. And so far, I think it's going well. Nothing has been demonetized there yet. The growth seems to be going pretty well, and people are really responding to it. And we do have a plan for another channel, a history channel, but I'll stay tight-lipped about that one for now. Thanks for your support, Nick. And if you want to see how I'm using video games to get around YouTube censorship, check out this video about the lies of Pete. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.